Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to start with a topic from the criticism. As the name of the course is criticism, and the name of topic is also criticism, but criticism by John Groves. So here, certainly, a screen is before you. First of all, we will revise the definition of criticism, that what it is. Because you started the subject of criticism means since the fifth semester. So I think that now let us revise the definition of criticism and the function of criticism as well. So here, what is criticism? Criticism is an evaluative or corrective exercise that can occur in any area of human life. So it means that how to evaluate the piece of literature, how to correct the piece of literature. Criticism overall means evaluation of something. Criticism can therefore take many different forms. It means that we have various forms of criticism. How people go about criticizing can vary a great deal. Now see that how people criticize the things. By people, I mean that literary figures. And we have uh, discussed in detail under the topics of uh, criticism, the definitions and the views of various critics, that how a piece of literature should be evaluated. Okay, so here the important point to be kept in mind is that criticism is evaluation of literary pieces. In, in a specific area of human endeavor, the form of criticism can be highly specialized and technical. Technique means it often requires professional knowledge to appreciate the criticism. So if you want to be critic, you must be professional one. Our professional knowledge is required over here. Okay? It, and we have also discussed that how to judge the piece of literature. And we know very well that in order to judge any piece of literature, critic must be well informed, or in other words, we can say that he must possess certain knowledge. And the certain knowledge means the background knowledge of the things. It means that critics are creators themselves as well. So I think that the point number one is very much clear that we have in paragraph number one. To criticize does not necessarily imply to find fault, but the word is often taken to mean the simple expression of subject against prejudice, no matter positive or negative. Often criticism involves active disagreement, but, but it may only mean taking sides. Okay, so over here in means in this sentence, which has been highlighted in different color, constructive criticism will often involve an exploration of different sides of an issue. It means that this is a function of criticism, to explore different sides. And critics always come up with disagreement with the writers, but that disagreement must be a constructive one. It means that criticism should not be for the sake of criticism only, that you are going to criticize any piece of literature and great personality over here, educators, philosophers, only without reasons. So reasons must be there. For example, you can criticize Shakespeare's plays, but you should have strong reasons to prove your point of view. Criticism is often presented as something unpleasant, but there are friendly criticisms harmoniously discussed, and some people find great pleasure in criticism. Great pleasure in criticism means keeping people sharp, providing the critical edge. When criticism involves a dialogue of some kind, direct or indirect, it is basically social activity. Now, see here, the point is that sometimes people are of the view, by people I mean that the writers are of the view that their work must be evaluated or criticized. For what? In order to in order to prove it the work of worth, at least. Why? Because critics always look at the various aspects of the work. And what happens? Then critics give positive feedback that if such and such things are included in it, either in the form of language or in the form of presentation or in the form of similes and metaphors, alliteration, means overall the figures of speech. So it might have been very much attractive to the readers. So this type of thing or this type of criticism is called positive type of criticism. And overall, if we look at the apparent meaning of the word criticism, it seems quite unpleasant, right? When criticism involves a dialogue of something, okay. So when critics means involve themselves, or critics uh, hold dialogues, it means that this way is basically a social activity. What happens in society? That suppose when we sit together, when we means don't agree with the people, what we do, we always try our level best to convince them, and we always give reasons in order to make our point of view very much clear. So this is the thing. So such type of thing is social activity. So here we have learned that criticism is also social activity when there uh, there is a dialogue form. Criticism is also the study, evaluation, and interpretation of literature, artwork, film, and social trends. So this is the also definition of criticism. The goal is to understand the possible meaning of cultural phenomena. What is the goal of criticism? What is the aim of criticism? Is to understand the meaning, especially in cultural phenomena and the context in which they take shape. And uh, critics also try their level best to understand means context, environment in which it was written. So here, two things are important. They are no more confined only to critics, but to each and every one of us. Why? Because being students of literature, we have to take into consideration two things. Number one, cultural phenomena. Number two, the context in which it was written. And I also give you example. For example, I also have given you so many examples. What is the meaning of context? Context means environment. Environment means, take an example, for example. Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, was asked by Bedouins, would there be uh, beautiful and attractive women in paradise? Question number two, will there be cold water to drink? Okay. Question number three, would there be camels? If we consider these three means questions, we can understand the context. Context in the sense that, for example, beautiful women with wide eyes and attractive faces and with attractive personality was a dream of Bedouins in the deserted land of Arabia. Number one. Number two, cold water. You may simply keep into consideration deserted area and scarcity of water and the cold water. So that was the dream for them. And number three, camel. Camel is considered as the ship of desert, and those Arabs who possessed camel were considered quite rich people. So these were the three questions. So, okay. So think for a moment. If the Prophet, peace be upon him, would have preached in Russia or USSR, that the questions might not be the same. The questions might be entirely different. Why? Number one, the context or natural environment of Russia is very cold. So that's why people don't like cold water over there. Number two, women are already beautiful. Number three, as far as the camel is concerned, then camel is not need of Russians. So now see that I think that uh, this context might have become very much clear to you, that how people peep into context of the things, a context uh, in which literature was written. So this was about literature, its definition, its function, right? So I'm sure that uh, all of you might have got my message, and the thing is very much clear now. And it was essential that we must have definition of literature, criticism first. Okay, now let us start with John Crow Ransom. Okay, John Crow Ransom is identified with the rise of new criticism in America. So he was American. With the help of other writers such as Ellen Tate and Glenn Brooke, he formed a group. So these three formed one group known as the Southern Agrarians. Agrarians, who are agrarians? Agrarians are associated with cultivation of land. It means that, in simply speaking, they are called farmers. Are the fugitives. Fugitives are those people, are those persons who are fleeing from prosecution or persecution or city life. It means that when people are uh, when people feel boring of city life, then what they do, they always move to natural life or village life. This fugitive is the title of the magazine edited by them. It means that these three uh, literary critics or literary figures, they issued magazines in USA in the name of fugitive, sorry, agrarians, and fugitives. Criticism is an important document in the history of criticism. So now see that this criticism that was put forward by John Crow's Ransom. Okay, drawing together in one place all the most characteristics, aims, attitudes, and assumptions of the American new critics. Ransom holds out the vision of objective or ontological criticism. So he certainly possessed the great vision of the objective criticism or ontological criticism. Now, first of all, the term ontological to be defined over here in order to make it quite clear for you. By ontological criticism, we mean criticism based on the ontology of text. Okay, it is believed that text has its own ontology, that is, its own existence. It means that criticism must be discussed or seen, especially in the light of ontology for its existence. Therefore, structure and texture are two main elements for critics, since structure is the central logic in the text. Now, see, there are two things which are most important for critics. One is structure, other is texture. So, structure is the central logic in the text. Okay, so criticism that will be product of rigorous discipline, collaborative efforts in elucidation and evaluation of literary texts. So now see that criticism is not product of trifle things, or it is not a simple production, but it requires lot of hard work and discipline and group work. Collaborative means a group work, peer work. For what? For clarification, elucidation, clarification, and evaluation of literary texts. So these are the requirements. So that's why criticism is not means easy type of job. It means that criticism requires lot of hard work on the part of critics. He defends the concept of criticism against uncooperative rival method and approaches. Now, John Crows certainly defends the concept of criticism. Concept of criticism against what? Means against those people who simply criticize the things and and display rivalry. Either in their rivalry means opposition, either in their methods or in their approaches. So that's why their criticism is as dry as dust in historical approach. So their criticism is useless. Historical approach, impressionistic. Impressionistic means unfocused appreciation. It means that such type of literature which has been created or which has been put forward only for the sake of opposition, that suppose, as we have already discussed under various topics, that we will have to be objective, not subjective. My personal liking and disliking should not be involved in criticism, right? Otherwise, it will be certainly like a dry as dust. It will not be valued anywhere. So over here, appreciation, impressionistic appreciation, unfocused appreciation, people will never appreciate that type of criticism, and various kinds of criticism which concentrates on the abstracted content of the work. Right? Now over here, as the word ontology means occurs in the preceding paragraph, so that's why we are going to understand it. Ontology is the philosophical field revolving around the study of the nature of reality, all that is our existence. So ontological philosophers are of the view that whatever is around us, that is the reality. And they means don't believe in idealism of Plato or other philosophies and etc. And apart from and ontology is certainly the one of the parts of means what to say there is phenomenology. Phenomenology means that your own experiences are of the vital importance, that how do you perceive the things, how do you look at the things, how do you observe the things, and what are your personal views about it, right? So this is phenomenology. In other words, we can say that phenomenology certainly searches for the meaning. Meaning of what? Meaning of experiences of individuals. So, for example, if you have various type of experiences, when you want to share the same with me, then certainly I have I have asked you a question. I want to know the answer of the question, right? For example, the simple question if I put before you, how do you pass your life nowadays, especially during the days of Corona? So, what will be your answer? Simple answer would be that the life has become quite difficult because economically we are destroyed. So that's why neither we can move anywhere nor we can means shake hands with the people, or we are in a position to attend the social gatherings and etc. So these are means the most important things which have occurred in your observation. But if I want to go into the deep of the things and want to know about your personal issues or your family issues, then certainly I put a question before you. So, for example, if I belong to the higher class of society and I have no any issue of economy, I have no other issues and etc. So my point of view will be entirely different than that of you, right? Right. So if I want to discover the truth, if I want to investigate the truth, what I'll do, I'll certainly come up to you and will ask you questions, and then whatever experiences you have, I will certainly get them, and the most important thing is that I'll interpret them. I'll I'll describe them. I'll interpret them. Right. So this is the means phenomenology, and this is ontology, that reality does not exist anywhere, but reality exists means around us. We should try our level best to discover that reality through our experiences. Okay, so I think that ontology um, uh, might be very much clear to you. Okay, there is some irony in the stand taken by ransom. There is some irony in the stand taken by ransom. 4 decades later, new criticism itself has become narrow and irrelevant orthodoxy. It means that certainly John Crow's ransom put forward a certain theory, but after 4 decades, his theory was certainly uh, became quite narrow and irrelevant. So no, see, this is all natural. 4 decades means 40 years. 40 years is the longest period of time, number one. And number two, during 40 years, there might have been certain changes which had taken place in the world. So by people, I mean the context, especially environment and the ages and cultures might have been changed. The very little of Ransom's essay anticipates the now familiar joke, and academic criticism itself has become more like an industry than a human pursuit. though that was clearly against the wishes of the ransom. Now see that because of such type of huge change in context and in culture, means his criticism was considered a very trifle type of thing, and people used to laugh at his criticism and etc. And but nowadays, criticism has become industry. Industry means that each and everything is being produced in a means massive quantity, and there's only pursuit of the human pursuit. Human pursuit means that you may make the people feel very uh, happy and pleasant, right? Though that was clearly against the wishes of ransom. And certainly, when any theory of criticism is not taken seriously, then a writer must be very much uh, in a tragic situation, or he certainly becomes displeased with the people and etc. But now see that this is a world, and people may come up with the new philosophies and theories and etc. Suppose if you are not in a mood to accept the people are the theories and philosophies of the people that were put forward during the last decades of 20th century, then it is up to you. And if you are moving forward in the 21st century to keep into consideration culture and context, it is up to you. That, for example, COVID-19, as it is started now, uh, uh, before that, before that, even means people didn't experience the same, right? So that's why it means it is a new type of thing, and whole the world is certainly running behind the cure and the medicines and the injections in order to save their lives and etc. Even the big powers or great powers are also quite disturbed. Great big powers, you know very well that the most developed countries of the world have become quite disturbed. So now see that now these are the situations. This is the context which keeps on changing, and during the change, the people's priorities are changed as well. Okay, so now see that he has put forward, Ransom has put forward these points. Number one, the business of criticism. What is the business of criticism? Ransom states that it is strange that nobody seems to have told us what exactly is the proper business of criticism. He's of the view that he was unaware uh, regarding the business of criticism, and means the great critics of their times even they didn't express themselves regarding the business of criticism. Ransom also says that most critics are amateurs. They are not serious type of people. They have not been trained to criticism so much as they have simply undertaken a job for which no specific qualification were required. It means overall here, Ransom is of the view that a critic cannot be a common man. Number one, and number two, critics must be trained, and critics must be philosophers. Critics must be thinkers. But now, in criticism, there is no certain qualification or rules and regulations for the people that this man can criticize the things and the other educators cannot criticize this one and etc. So, because of that, the business of criticism certainly means suffered over here, and everyone put forward his criticism in the market of literature. Number two, three sorts of trend performance. So so there are three types of people. He has divided the people in three groups. There are three sorts of the trend performance who would appear to have the abilities needed for critics. Number one, the artist. Number two, uh, for example, A, artist, B, philosopher. Artist. One should know good art when he sees it, but understanding is intuitive. Intuitive means based on what one feels to be true, even without conscious reasoning. Okay, number one, intuition. Intuition we have discussed in the class so many times. Okay, so intuition is based on what one feels to be true even without conscious reasoning. It means that in intuition, reasoning is no more required. But whatever I feel, I may put forward the same. Rather than dialectical relating to the dialectical. It is not dialectical. Dialectical means relating to the logical discussion of ideas and opinion. Over here, there's a logic. In intuition, there's no logic. Right? He cannot very well explain his theory. So it means that those people who are intuitive, then they whatever they feel, whatever they understood, they may put forward without any reasoning, without any logical reasoning. On the other hand, there are a certain group of people. There is a certain group of people that is dialectical. Dialectical means that artists should be dialectical, not intuitive. This is the most important point which he has put forward. Literary artists can speak about their works, but their views will be valuable when they speak more about the technical nature of the work. So over here, literary figures may not only value their work, but they may focus the technical type of things in their work. Be philosophers. He should know all about the function of fine arts. Philosophers should be well versed with the fine arts. But the philosopher is apt to see a lot of wood and no trees. But philosophers goes beyond the appearance of the things. For example, if you take them to the forest, they will never see the trees, their beauty, and etc. Because this is not the function of philosophers. Why? Because they strongly believe in logic and reasoning, right? So that's why they will not discuss the beauty of the trees and the benefits of the trees over here, but like William Wordsworth. But they will call it simply a wood. His theory is very general. His familiarity with particular work will not be intimate. So it means that this is the characteristic of philosophers. See, the university teacher of literature. So, what should be the role of a university teacher of literature? He has put forward the same before us. He should be professional. It means that the university professor should be professional. Number one. Now, I want to discuss the professional over here in order to make it clear to those students, those students who may feel difficult in it. Number one. Now, see, professional means that suppose if I'm professor at the moment, that I'm professional, and I should behave as a professor